Hello and welcome to another installment of our Sunday Q&A. Today is not actually Sunday, it's Monday. I'm a little late with this. Now usually I film these Q&As, I really film them on Sundays, but you know, when you're traveling, oftentimes you're not really able to get the videos uploaded like right when you want to upload them. Right? There's a lot of bullshit that you need to kind of contend with as far as internet connectivity and how quickly the internet connections actually are. Anyway, I am here in Greece. I'm on the Isle of Rhodes, and while I have Wi-Fi, which is good, it is pretty slow Wi-Fi, and it takes roughly one entire day to upload a video to YouTube. Hence the reason why I'm a little bit late with this. Anyway, I have, before I start the Q&A, I have a couple of announcements to make. The first one is that right now, today, I just uploaded our 400th video onto this YouTube channel. 400. That's about, I don't know, I first started uploading videos on YouTube in the spring of 2007. So that's like 10.5 years of uploading videos. In 10.5 years, I have uploaded 400 of them. And a little bit on that note, last night, this channel went over 15,000 subscribers. Now, 15,000 subscribers is pretty good. It's more subscribers than, I don't know, like 95% of YouTube channels will ever get. However, it's I don't know, when you look at the big successful channels out there, it's we still have a lot of work to do. But what I'm really proud of here is that it took me 10 years to get 10,000 subscribers, right? I worked on this channel, I uploaded videos regularly for pretty much 10 years, and that got me 10,000 subscribers. And then in the past few months, we like upped that number by 50%. Like 10 years for 10,000 subscribers, like 3 months for 5,000, right? That's pretty good. Like our growth rate, like coming in through the last part of like 2017 and the beginning of 2018 is absolutely incredible. And I have you guys to thank for that. Anyway, on to the questions. This week we have 2 questions. One comes from, it was a question I received by email. I'm not sure what this person's name is, but the first part of his email address was T Tempa. I have no idea who this person is. I have no idea where they're from. Anyway, he or she asked, recently I got selected for law school but chose a BA in archaeology instead. Did I make the right choice? I have no idea, man. I mean, I don't know you, and I don't know what your career ambitions are. I don't know what your passions are. So there's no way I can tell if you made, the correct decision or not. But what I will say is that it seems as if you are kind of like caught between doing, kind of caught, at this crossroads of taking one career path that you feel is kind of what you're supposed to do, the responsible choice, the choice that will make you money and secure you a job by going to law school, or going on the other path, which is, I'm assuming, to be your passion for archaeology. And it seems as if you chose your passion, which I would say is always 100% of the time the best way. 99% of the time. All right, there could be some exceptions here. The best way to go. Right? Now, I've known, man, I mean going through high school and seeing, like, where people end up. I mean, I'm 36 years old now, so I've been out of high school for like 18, 19 years or so, right? So I kind of got to see where a lot of these kids that I kind of grew up with, what they did and what they became, right? And you kind of see, I mean, everybody probably has this experience who's about my age, but you kind of see, the people who kind of went off and did the jobs they were supposed to do, studied, topics in college that may not have been really what they really liked or what they were passionate about, but what they felt that they were supposed to do because it would make them money in the future. Very, very few of them are actually still on that path. most of them kind of went to school, got their BAs, got their degrees, and kind of burnt out, and either went back home and did some kind of grassroots job they don't really need a degree for, or they went and they did something else, right? I mean, all this talk about job security and what you need to get ahead in life and build this financial foundation that can last into your future and retirement. Well, a good deal of it is bullshit, right? We live in a world, especially right now, where people are not only going to have one career. It's not like, not even my father's generation, my grandfather's generation. When I was a kid, my father, he had the same job at the factory at Kodak, from Rochester, New York. He worked this job for 20 years, right? We all thought we had job security. We all thought, hey, he's always going to be working at Kodak because everybody around here works at Kodak, and they've always worked at Kodaks. Our grandparents and blah, 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 they've all worked, at this one factory. And then, going to work at this factory was the secure choice. That was the choice that you took when you weren't taking risk in life, when you weren't necessarily, when you're choosing doing what you're supposed to do over, what you are passionate about. And he got laid off along with everybody else. Poof. Gone. That entire sense of security, everything, these people, something like 60,000 people in my town got laid off. 60,000 people had these dreams and these visions of security and, the future that they were going to have go up in smoke immediately. It was gone. Right? And seeing that as a kid, I was probably about 12, 13 years old, my dad lost his job. Seeing that kind of made me realize that there is no such thing as job security. Right? There is no way, especially in the era that I was growing up in, that, basically I realized that you could do everything the right way, do everything how you're supposed to do it, do everything, get the conservative, safe way, and still end up with nothing. So I realized, why not take a chance, right? Well, what's the harm, knowing this, knowing that you could do what you don't want to do to be safe and still go belly up. Knowing this, why not go out and do what I want to do? Why not go out and do what I dream about, what I envision that I could do with my wildest daydreams? What's the risk? I fail. What's the risk of going the safe route? I fail, right? And at least I knew that if I went out and did what I wanted on my own terms in the way that I wanted to do it, and I went out and, not to sound too corny, lived my dream, if I failed, I would be failing on my own terms. I would fail because I didn't do things the right way, because I wasn't good enough, because I just didn't seize the proper appropriate opportunities, because maybe these opportunities never would have existed. But whatever the case, it would have been on my own terms. If I took the safe route, went straight to a 4-year school, got a job that and studied a topic that would get me a job and get me money, and I failed going that route. Oof. Oh, and that's salt in a wound, man. Right? Because all of a sudden I wouldn't be failing, on my own terms. I wouldn't be failing because of me. I would be failing because of outside broader forces and how they acted upon me. And seeing my father, being in that situation, and seeing him, having these outside forces that he had absolutely no control over. He did everything the right way, adversely impacting him and his life, and seeing how helpless he felt and how helpless, all the people, 60-something thousand people in my town felt, it was just something that I realized that there was no way, no matter what in my life, I would not allow, myself to ever feel so helpless. That if I failed, if I crashed and burned, right, if I didn't make it, it would be because of me. It would be on my own terms, and I would be the only one to blame. There was no way I was going to prostrate myself and put myself at the mercy of these outside bigger economic and social and political forces. So I did what I wanted to do. Right? I went off, I traveled, I had some adventures, I started writing, and up to here, It was a long road. I'm gonna put it that way. It was a very, very long road. Okay, this wasn't easy. This wasn't something that happened overnight. This wasn't, something that, I just pushed a few buttons and all of a sudden I got. This is something I really had to fight for. But up to here, I'm doing all right. It's. I mean, as far as anything could work out, as far as a career or a profession in the 21st century, I'm doing all right, right? It seems to have worked. At least up to here, it seems to have worked, right? But then again, I mean, any job for anyone, on the planet in this era can go up in smoke on any given day, and we all need to know that. So, knowing that, I found that it's better, when you're a young person, kind of looking at your career path to provision yourself with skills, with know-how, and with a wide range of experience, better than training for any one particular job. Right now, I'm trained in a variety of different jobs. I can go into a variety of different professions in a variety of different directions. Right? I invested in myself and in my skills and in my own experience and know-how, rather than trying to go on this path like high school, college, job, expecting each to lead me on the way. I mean, Crass was wrong, man. They don't owe us a living, right? Our livings we have to make ourselves. So that said, your question about archaeology, I spent 8 years working as a professional archaeologist. It was a wild time. It was absolute, insanity. I mean, archaeology is a traveling job. You travel, all around. I traveled all around the USA, all around Latin America, working on these different projects. And for a young traveler, looking for adventures and immersing myself in local cultures and, seeing the world from a slightly closer point of view, it was absolutely perfect. However, it's not really the kind of work to base a future off of, right? Now there are, there's like this thin layer at the top of like the archaeology profession who go into it academically, who go and get a PhD, get a job at a university, and become researchers. But that's like, I don't know. I mean, I would say, an off-the-cuff guess, that's maybe 5% of the people who actually get BAs in archaeology, if that, right? Now, most people who get tractor. Now, most people who get BAs in archaeology go and they work in cultural resource management for a few years. Cultural resource management is like commercial archaeology. Countries like the USA have some pretty strict cultural resource laws, and if companies are getting public funds for their projects, they need to do archaeology surveys first and hire archaeologists to excavate the sites that they would be destroying with their development projects. Alright, so basically, like, you travel around for a while doing this job, but most people give it up, after a few years. I mean, I lasted out 8 seasons. So I would travel around the USA and sometimes Latin America working on these archaeology projects for, 8 summers. And then, the rest of the year I travel around the world and, backpack and just basically spend all my money. So when you're thinking about a career in archaeology, you really need to understand that it's not going to be like Indiana Jones, right? Like doing archaeology field work that I did, it was sort of, in a small way, kind of Indiana Jonesy, right? But that's, as I said, that's kind of a profession, a way of life that most people kind of give up on, relatively soon after doing it. First of all, the pay is not very high, Secondly, I mean, most people get sick of living out of hotels. I mean, the only people who do this job, for as long as I did it, are either travelers, drunks, or people that just can't function in society, right? So basically we're working on these crews, in these like random places where everybody's just absolutely fucking like just batshit crazy, man, right? And you just go and you just like, have a blast. But as I said, I wouldn't plan on living a life like that. I mean, even for me, I wanted to do something else. Right, after about 8 seasons of that, I wanted to do something else. That said, going the academic route, it's tough. It costs. I mean, I know many people who have done it. I know many people who have done it successfully, and they look good. They're sitting in their professorships and the University of South North Dakota, and various other places. I mean, a lot of some of the kids that I went to field school with actually end up becoming PhDs in archaeology and actually doing the work academically. But you got to really like going to school, right? You have to really like sit behind a computer. You have to really like going over data, reading reports and blah blah blah. Because basically, you are going to be spending 95% of your time in a little room behind a computer, right? If you go the academic route, the amount of time that you are actually going to spend out in the field having these adventures, it happen every once in a while. Every once in a while there's archaeologists that do primarily, work in the field for a large portion of the career, but mostly you're going to be working in the university, teaching, being a grunt for a long time, right? So it's, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, as far as like making the best choice, you made the best choice because it seems as if you did what you are passionate about, which is, as far as I'm concerned, that's always the best choice. But as far as the probability of you actually, landing one of these universities, first of all, the probability of you actually getting your PhD and landing one of these university jobs, you need to be extremely passionate about what you are doing for this to work. To put it like that, if you have the passion, you can make it happen. If not, it's a crapshoot, buddy. That's a real crapshoot. Anyway, on to the next question. Next question. This is Michael Kominski's. The second part of his question from last week that I didn't completely answer. Anyway, can you talk about the process of getting visas that you have to go through as you travel from country to country? Yeah, no problem. Back when I first started traveling about 18, 19 years ago, I mean, first of all, I'm from the United States of America. I have a U.S. passport. That's a very, very good, I call it a grade A passport to travel the world on, because you have like tons of countries that you can enter, visa free, which pretty much just means you get your visa stamped in your passport when you show up, right? It's like one of the best passports in the world, right up there with the EU and Japan and, a few others. However, back then, for a lot of countries, for a good number of countries, especially the more interesting ones, we needed to get visas, which meant that we oftentimes had to go through the hassle of physically going to a consulate, filling out forms, applying, and paying a bunch of money. That kind of sucked, man. I mean, it wasn't real difficult, right? It often wasn't that expensive, and it wasn't that much of a hassle. I never had any problems doing this. However, now that it's much easier, I kind of look back on, doing that, and I think it's like, man, I think it's way more of a hassle than what it actually was, because now, a lot of countries, a huge amount of countries that you need visas for, you can apply online for, which couldn't be any easier, right? You go on the website, you fill out the form, you make a payment by your Visa credit card or debit card, and they send you an email. You print out that email, you show up, at the border or the port of entry. You show them that piece of paper, they stamp the visa in your passport right there. Boom, done, simple. And we're talking about countries that have the reputation of being somewhat closed. Places like Azerbaijan, right? They have these really excellent e-visa programs, and there's a bunch of other ones as well. I believe Vietnam you can get online now too. Cambodia you can get online, and there's all kinds of countries where you used to have physically go to the consulate, that now you can just apply online. And anyway, to answer your question more directly, it's not really a big deal, especially not anymore. I haven't gone in to apply to get a visa to enter a country, and man, I don't even know how many years. It may be it was probably the last time that I had a Chinese a visa to get a Chinese residence permit, which was in 2012. Yeah, I believe 2012 was the last time that I ever had to physically go into a consulate to get a visa. So that's and I've been to, maybe, 50, 60 different countries since then. So this as far as visas, if you have a grade A passport, it's a cakewalk now. It's easy now. I mean, a lot of countries that I said that were previously closed now have these e-visa, systems, or they just want visa free. Like Kazakhstan went visa free for Americans. I mean, I can just show up and go in. Mongolia went visa free quite a while ago, right? I mean, these countries that were previously backwaters of the world kind of have fucked up political systems and were pretty much disorganized. They're now getting it together a little more, and they realize that people coming from another part of the world to leave their money is ultimately a good thing, right? So they're kind of making things easy, for us to go there and spend money. But anyway, I hope that answers your question. For anybody else, if you have any other questions for me, feel free to either leave them in the comment form down below, email them to me, find me on Facebook or Twitter, or however else you could find me, and just get these questions to me, and I will answer them next Sunday. Hopefully really on Sunday this time. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, for subscribing, for commenting, liking, sharing, and doing all these other great things that you guys do to make running this channel a lot of fun. Thank you very much, and till next week. I need a better way to end this, right? I need like something like after, like, say, until next week, hang tough, or till next week, and until next week, walk slow. How was that? They used to be my old sign off from the old Vagabond Journey days. Does that work?